Hi, Doug. Nice to see you again. We have defined mental toughness, and you mentioned the 4 constructs, but you have also been mentioning some 8 factors. Could you briefly, for our audience, mention what those 8 factors are, please?
Okay, I'd be delighted to, Maria. So the 4 constructs are control, commitment, challenge, and confidence. Each of them has 2 contributor factors. Yes, the 4 C's. It works in English.
Yeah.
Sometimes comes up with a different idea. So the 4 C's each have 2 factors. So these are 2 components of your mental approach to the way you deal with events. With under control, you have life control. That's assessing and describing your sense of self-worth. By that we mean, if I'm asked to do something, even if I don't know how to do it or don't have the skills and knowledge, will I have a go? Do I think I am the sort of person that could possibly succeed? At one end, you will have people who think they can, and at the other end, you think that there are people who will think they can't. Remember the Henry Ford thing: if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're probably right. The second component is emotional control. And this is really about emotional management. Some of us have the ability, but we can't avoid being emotional. We feel emotions. But some of us can channel those emotions to productive ends. Others will allow their emotions to dictate what they do. So these are the 2 components of control. The commitment, there are 2 components. One is called goal orientation, but it's essentially where your sense of purpose sits. So people who've got a high level of goal orientation are typically people who know what they must achieve. And there are lots of people who don't have that sense. So they're at the end of the scale. The other component is achievement orientation. So some people, once they know what they need to achieve, will do whatever it takes mentally to deliver their purpose. There are others, even when they know the purpose, will not make the effort, and sometimes for good reasons. So these are the first 4 of the 8 factors. Those broadly contribute to resilience. We move on to the next group of 4 factors. On the challenge, you have risk orientation. Risk orientation is describing the extent to which you will embrace new, different, and strange ideas. So that's about how do you look forward into the unknown. Some people will look at the unknown and think, oh, that's exciting. Other people will look forward and say, no, I'm not keen to go there. I want to stay where I am. And associated with that is, for me, the beating heart of the concept, the learning orientation. So you can actually have people who will boldly go out there and try things, find it doesn't work, and their approach will be, bin it, forget it, sweep it under the carpet. But others will say, that was interesting, I want to learn from that. So learning orientation is describing the extent to which you will learn from all your experiences and others' experiences. So it's about reflection. And the final quadrant is confidence, and that's about self-belief and abilities. And it's interesting because there's a lot of research to show that there are lots of people with lots of abilities, they have skills, knowledge, and experience, but sometimes they don't believe in themselves. They think other people have more and they don't, and they think they don't have enough to tackle the task, and they do. So it's about self-belief in your abilities, and it's where this alleged imposter syndrome sits. And the final of the 8 factors is a specific type of skill or approach, and that's interpersonal confidence. And again, I think this is crucially important. It's for me, one of the most significant ones. That's about your openness to engage with other people, whether it's to influence them, to learn from them, to support them. When I interviewed Jim Lower, the great sports coach, for our podcast with him, one of the questions that he was asked was, is there a difference between individual sports and team sports? And his answer was, there's no difference. There's no such thing as an individual sport. Even an individual will have a team around.
Of course.
And I thought that's really quite insightful. And that's about everything we do. There's very little we can possibly do in isolation. So
link to the systemic approach again.
Exactly. So the more we are able to engage effectively with others, the more effective we can be. There are people who can work entirely on their own, but they're very, very few. So those are the 8 factors. And they're independent, they interplay with each other in lots of really interesting ways, surprising ways, as we found out in one of the earlier discussions. And they enable us to understand in a lot of detail how we respond to events, hitting that self-awareness button again.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Doug, for providing us a detailed overview of the 4 constructs and the 8 factors. I shall see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.